Hi, everyone, and welcome back. And I am very much looking forward to you seeing this video. It is going to be a very special video. And I am joined by my friend Nada. And we have met through our bookish enthusiasm on Zoom discussions. And it's just been so nice to get to know Nada and hear about her interests and also her insights on the different books that we read together. We've read some Victorian literature together, and we've also read some different books with my Kindred Spirits book club, so more kind of modern classics, cozy things. And so it's nice to have a real range of interests. And we're just going to talk about what it has been like to participate with Victober kind of as an observer, but also an active participant. So welcome, Nada, and would you like to share a little bit about yourself?
First of all, thank you so much, Kate, for having me. Hi, guys. My name is Nada, and it means morning dew in Arabic. I'm a 26-year-old web developer. I love books, of course. I love history. I love natural sciences, among many other things. And I'm a huge Victober enthusiast.
Yay! So before we talk about Victober, let's jump back. And when did you first happen upon Victorian literature?
Okay, so I don't think I have a straightforward answer to this. So my first technical introduction to Victorian literature was back in 7th grade when we were assigned The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett.
Oh.
And I knew the story before because I watched, through watching the anime series, and it had old mansions and secret rooms and secret gardens. So I loved it, of course, but I didn't think of it as a classic. So for, growing up, the idea of classic books versus non-classics wasn't something that, especially as a non-native speaker, wasn't something that I was aware of. So I just thought of classics as English books with charming old-timey settings and balls and gowns and whatnot. So I started becoming more aware of the idea of classics in general towards the end of my high school years when I read Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights, Great Expectations, and David Copperfield. But still, the idea of classics, let alone Victorian versus Regency versus modern, hadn't set in yet. It wasn't until I started watching yours and Katie's videos, especially the ones about Victorian literature and the ones during Victober, that it clicked.
Mm.
Then at the beginning, for some reason, I associated Victorian literature with Charles Dickens, even though now I know that Victorian literature is more diverse than that. But for me at the beginning, it was Victorian equals Dickensian.
Well, he is such an iconic author, and I do think he, like his books are very readily accessible. And yeah, he's just, I think, the Victorian author that I most commonly see the most of his books in the library. There's always going to be at least one Bronte book, but it's surprising there aren't more. And yeah, sometimes George Eliot, but I think it's very understandable that he would be kind of the, I don't know, the representative of Victorian literature to people who are dipping their toes in for the first time. And so then moving to Victober, how did you find out about Victober?
So I first subscribed to you and Katie, and also Ange from Beyond the Pages, I think early to mid 2016. So it was through your channels that I first, found out about Victober. But I couldn't participate either in 2016 or 2017 because, I was still in university and there were exams and projects and whatnot. So I was like, this meme from SpongeBob where Squidward is watching from, through the ball.
Yes.
SpongeBob and Patrick while they're having fun. That was
With the
me.
box.
Yeah, I just had to content myself with watching the videos and looking at the pictures on Instagram, just dreaming of the day I would finally be able to join. And that day came in October, October 2018, and it was worth it.
Oh, so that's very interesting. You kind of were just took a back seat the first two Victobers. You've known about it ever since it has existed. But then the third year you finally got to dive in and go all out.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. Totally worth the wait.
So what was it kind of that was, did you feel just captivated by the books that you read?
Victorian literature, there's something so warm, inherently warm and cozy about it. It has, there's something for every mood that you're in. So you can read something like Wives and Daughters for a serene and relaxing morning. You can read something by Dickens for a relaxing evening by the fireside, be it real or virtual. And you can read something like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde before bed. So, and even, despite there being different genres, different, plot-centric books versus character-centric. So, despite all this difference, all Victorian literature, for me, there's just something inherently warm and snug about it.
Yes. Yeah. And I think part of it is they're very into describing domestic details.
Yeah. Yes,
exactly. Books that you read, I guess, because the home was, I don't know, such an essential component of Victorian society. I'm not sure exactly, but I feel the same way you do. Even, in Wuthering Heights, when people are doing dreadful things to one another, it still feels oddly cozy.
Yes, it's like you said, you've hit it on the nail. It's this domestic, homey, vibe to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And so then, off the top of your head, what are some of your particular favorite Victorian books?
Okay, I think you know the first one.
I mean, I know you love Wuthering Heights. Yay.
Love that book. It's not just my favorite Victorian novel, it's, one of my favorite books of all time. It's just, it's atmospheric and brilliant and intense and beautifully written. And, you get something new out of it each time you read it. And, it's such a shame that Emily didn't publish, more than one novel. I'm going to haunt Charlotte Bronte for this.
Yes, you want to share something that you told me about that I did not know about that Charlotte did.
Yeah. I read an article, I think it was, last year, and I think it said that Emily had, if I remember correctly, Emily had an unpublished manuscript, and she was in the process of writing a novel, and I don't remember the exact details, but I think the gist of it was that Charlotte burned the manuscript.
Oh, that is so deeply devastating.
Yes,
it's just, I have no idea what another book from her would have been like too.
Yeah, especially I just love Wuthering Heights so much. I think it's something on its own. Like books and Victorian literature are one thing to me, and Wuthering Heights, this timeless, brilliant masterpiece.
Yes. Oh yeah, and I think Charlotte did say though, and she wrote the introduction to one of the editions of Wuthering Heights, and she said something like it was like, hewn out of the rocks on the moors, kind of this rough work that it's very shocking even by modern audiences, which that means it's just a classic. So Wuthering Heights, and then what is another one?
Okay, I adore the works of Oscar Wilde. I adore his comedies. His brand of wit and his cynicism is right up my alley. And I also love the 1890s setting. And, he has his way with words. I love it. Take this one with a grain of salt. But David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. And take it with a grain of salt because I read it about, a decade or even over a decade ago. But I still remember enjoying it very much, and I remember some of the characters and the plot points, which is rare for someone like me, especially for a book that
Mm.
I read so long ago. Uh,
Yeah.
the Diary of a Nobody. I love that book. It's funny and cozy and just utterly delightful.
Yes.
Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Mm.
Lord. Anthony Trollope. Carmilla. Carmilla. I love it. It's much
Oh,
better than Dracula. It's.
I have not yet read Carmilla.
I'm going. I think I'm going to reread it this year because I
Excellent.
intend to watch the web series for Petra's Challenge. Um, it's very gothic and it gets the job done in just over 100 pages, straight to the point.
Mm.
And
Wow.
Anthony Trollope is on his way to becoming a favorite Victorian author of mine. Right now, I'm buddy reading He Knew He Was Right with a friend of mine, whom I've met
Oh.
in October, by the way.
Wow. That
Yeah,
is so cool to know.
yes. Uh, and Barchester Towers. I'm really enjoying. He Knew He Was Right, and Barchester Towers was just laugh out loud hilarious. So I want to read more Trollope, in the next year. I think I'm going to read Friendly Parsonage, at least Friendly Parsonage, and The Way We Live Now. Um, I also really like The Odd Women by George Gissing and What
Mm.
Others, of course. And finally, an honorable mention to Lady Audley's Secret, which I enjoyed immensely, and which might have ended up being a five-star read, but for Robert Audley. Robert Audley is trash, and I took down a whole star just because I don't think this is a spoiler, but spoiler alert, he didn't end up in a dumpster as he should have. Hashtag justice for Helen. So yeah, those.
That's amazing. Yeah, and you know what? Also, I reread it this last September, and I'm like, the real star of the show is Alicia Audley. She was a great character and so well-rounded and just in what was kind of like a thriller, yeah, she's the highlight of the book to me.
Was the man who just ruined it for me, be it Robert himself or I think the other guy's name was George.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, no, the men pale in comparison to the female characters in that. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping to discover new favorites this Victober and the next year.
Awesome. Yeah, I do always I really hope each year that, I'll find at least one new favorite Victorian book um, in during Victober. So then aside from reading, I'm very much like a themey person. So what are some other ways that you might celebrate Victober during the month of October?
Oh, well, I like to retire to my cottage in the English countryside, take strolls in the garden, call on some friends, discuss the latest gossip and publications, visit the theater in the evening, watch the latest stage adaptations, just the simple things. No, I wish. Um,
Me too.
I like to watch, Victorian things, so miniseries, web series, documentaries. Um, I usually watch ASMR videos, role plays, which have medieval fantasy or Regency setting because
Mm.
these videos they're just relaxing and the visuals are stunning. But during Victober, I try to limit those to only the ones with the Victorian setting, which sadly are very few. But there's this channel called Atmosphere, I think, and
Mhm.
she has a playlist, a Victorian playlist, and it's not just the videos are interconnected, and they follow a character and a story, and there's a mystery to unravel, and it's still unfinished, so the mystery hasn't been solved yet, and I sorry, I need to rewatch it. And she also has other miscellaneous Victorian videos, and the production quality of her videos, it's it's fantastic.
Oh, so please make sure you send me that link. And when this goes up, I'll put the link in the description because that sounds so intriguing.
Yes, yes, I love her videos. I like listening to classical music while reading.
Mm.
So there are the two playlists you've shared with us. So I listen to the Slice of Life playlist in the mornings or the afternoons with a, domestic or a light-hearted read. And then I listen to the atmospheric playlist in the evening with a slightly, darker or gothic read.
Oh,
And
I love that.
there's
Especially because we read together some last year. I did like Spotify reading parties. I think I'll do those again this year because it's so low key. All I have to do is say, I'm reading right now with this playlist. Would you like to read too?
Yes, I love those. Those were another highlight of last year.
Oh,
There's
good.
also this it, playlist created by Claudia from the Spinsters Library,
Mm.
and all the tracks are composed by Victorian female musicians. I really love this one, so I'll send you the link to this one too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I might have that saved on my Spotify because I played it some. And yeah, I could tell she put in a lot of effort and time into doing her research for that. And so then it was so lovely of her to share it with others.
And it paid off. I just adore that playlist. It's
Yeah.
it's brilliant. I play Victorian ambience videos in the background when I'm at work or at home doing house chores, um, or just sitting with a cup of warm herb and some fall autumnal dessert. Full
Oh.
immersion mode. I love the activities you always, share with us. So the bingo, the crosswords, those were great, great fun. The Fate of Jane Moore, it's obvious how much work goes into this, and I think I can speak on behalf of, all my fellow participants when I say thank you so much. It really, it does go a long way, and it makes Victober even more fun and enjoyable than it already is.
Oh, thank you so much. That is really lovely to hear. And I do have two games
Oh,
as videos that will be coming out this year. And it's so funny because now I've set this standard for, uploading a lot during Victober. And so this year I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Like, because I feel unwell a lot. And then just I just channel that creative energy and the videos happen. So yeah, it's wonderful. And so then it's nice too to have some variety and have more long form content like this to put up as well. So those are all really nice ways to hear how you participate. And what are, maybe you've touched on this, but I guess your favorite things about Victober overall?
so it takes time. It takes place in October, which is my favorite month of the year. And Victorian literature in general, I just love it for the reasons I've mentioned before. But the best part for me is the excitement and the anticipation and the community.
Mm,
I'm at my happiest. I really am, at my best when I'm preparing my Victober TBR, watching other people's videos, looking at their posts, engaging in the group reads discussions, um, meeting new people, sharing our love of books and Victorian literature. And everyone is just so sweet and welcoming. And for someone like me, because very few of my non-online acquaintances love reading the way I do,
mm-hmm.
this community helps me feel like I belong, and it helps me even briefly forget all that's going on in the world. So it's the perfect form of escapism and just this perfect safe bubble that I can just go to whenever I need it.
That is so beautifully put. And yeah, there really is a sense of camaraderie and kind of, even if I'm not seeing other people in person to know when I'm picking up Victorian novels throughout the month, like there are so many other people doing this. It's really cool. It's being a part of a really cool club. Um,
Exactly. Yes.
yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah, something else I wanted to mention is that I got into audiobooks through Victober. So
Oh,
yeah, my first Victober, I had picked 4 books, but I was still, I had a new job and I was still, getting used to the whole, just, being an active employee thing. And I read the 4 books, one after the other. So by the time I reached the final one, which was Wives and Daughters, I was usually very tired and struggled to, concentrate. And so you did mention the what was it?
is it Nadia May?
I think Nadime or someone else, but I didn't have an Audible subscription back then, and so I ended up listening to an audiobook on LibriVox.
Oh,
Yeah, they're not. It's not professionally made, but was very good quality, and it did the job. It helped me focus, and it helped me get into the atmosphere of things. So after that, I started getting more and more into audiobooks, and I got an Audible subscription, and I never looked back. So another Victober bonus.
that is wonderful. And I do think that Victorian novels, it especially makes sense to
Yes,
listen to them as an audiobook because I picture like, a kitchen maid coming in with the newspaper that everyone upstairs has used and saying, oh, the latest installment of David Copperfield is here and reading it aloud to the other staff that there will probably be a fair amount of staff that would not be literate.
yes,
Um, yeah, so that's one of the things that I definitely love about Victober is I always have at least a couple
of all.
audiobooks on the go. And it's been fun too to start to incorporate my oldest Peter. He enjoy like he knows about Victober and that it's coming up, and so planning a couple audiobooks that he can listen to. um
That's
is
so
really fun.
lovely.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, now kind of the top books for Victober 2022 that you are hoping to read.
Okay, so this year was a bit unusual because, usually I finalize my Victober TBR for the upcoming month uh, during the first week of September, and then I start thinking about the next year's Victober.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yes,
I always have Victober. So right now I have Victober 2022 and a Victober 2023 list. But this
that
year,
is wonderful.
I just can't seem to, it's still open for interpretation. But the one I'm most excited for is The Half Sisters by Geraldine Dewsbury.
Oh,
I found a PDF copy. It's not the best quality, but it'll do. I'm also excited. Let me see. I have to consult my
I
notes.
know. I'm sure you kind of have so many that you want to get to that then you just draw a blank.
Yes, Cranford.
Yay. Oh,
Uh, I'm a bit excited for the mayor of Casterbridge, even though it's still early, so I'm still apprehensive. But I'm excited for this. I think I can say I'm excited for this. So the way my TBR right now is Cranford, the Canterville Ghost, the picture of Dorian Gray, which is a reread, the Half Sisters, Love and Mr. Lewisham, Oscar Wilde's poems, The Mayor of Casterbridge, the audiobook of Carmilla, and I might include, because you hyped it so much, The Law and the Lady.
yeah, it really is. And that one would not be hard to fit in because it is so short. I actually think I'm going to reread The Canterville Ghost. I think on Halloween, it would be really fun because it is so short. It's really easy to fit it in like that. Um,
Um,
oh,
I'm
you've got a great selection there. I think you're going to have a really wonderful Victober.
Thank you. And I've also prepared a to be watched list, which is the Carmilla web series.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I'm also going to, still be reading He Knew He Was Right because, according to the schedule, we finish on October 29th. So
Oh,
He Knew He Was Right, if I can find it. And the 1986 A Little Princess. Uh,
I love it so
Yeah, thanks
much.
to your recommendation.
Yay.
I'll be listening to Stephen Fry's Victorian Secrets on Audible. Uh,
Thank you for reminding me of that. That's also in this season, like before Victober, I kind of have trouble picking anything to read. And I noticed that on Audible and it looks super fun.
and also another playlist you recommended, the Victorian Farm.
Yes.
Currently prepping. I'm reading Ruth Goodman's How to Be a Victorian, Victober prep.
Yes.
Finally, I'm rewatching Edgar Allan Poe's Murder Mystery Dinner Party.
Oh, you know what's so outrageous is I still have not watched that. It's so silly. I know I should just treat myself to it. And two things I thought of. One is, um, do you have like a Kindle app or a Kindle?
I have the app, but
Okay.
the Kindle.
Project Gutenberg, you can get pretty much any Victorian work for free on there, and the formatting is beautiful.
Thank
Um,
God for them.
yeah, so that's really helpful. And then I found the other day somebody had talked about the movie of the Canterville Ghost, and I looked on YouTube, and there are 3 versions just available for free on YouTube.
Ooh,
Yeah, I don't know how long they'll be up there, but for now they're up there.
I should check those out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, there were others, but they had to be, moved to either the classic 2023 list or the Victober 2023 list.
Yes.
I really want to read more Dickens. I did start the odd, no, not the other, our mutual friend and Bleak House when Katie hosted the serialized read along back in 2016 and 2017, I think. But exams got in the way. So
Yeah. I find too, I think that's such a fun concept, the way she hosted it, but I really forget a lot of what happens in them. So not like I like to rush through in a couple weeks, but kind of over the course of a month or 2 months, generally.
2 3 months.
Yeah.
So another one I'm really excited for, and that's another recommendation by you, is Romola.
Oh yeah, you said you're reading this next year, did you say?
Yes, early next year. My friend and I, the friend with whom I'm buddy reading, he was right. We're buddy reading a biography of the Medici family for Nonfiction November, and so I thought it would be wonderful to follow it with Romola because it takes place right after the fall of, the Medicis in 1492.
Yes. Oh, that's such a great plan. I actually might copy you because I was thinking about, it's been 2 years and it will be 3 years then since I've read it next year. And I was like, it was a great winter book and I feel that I am my most ambitious reading wise in the winter.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. I might take a leaf out of your book. And I love the idea of reading the Medici biography then. That would be cool.
But there's the caveat. Jennifer Brooks, when she in her Medici recommendations video, she mentioned that it's a slightly problematic book. So go in knowing that there are issues with it. She explains it more in her video.
Okay.
So, no, forewarned, forearmed.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'd forgotten that she even uploaded that. So yeah, she's a wonderful channel to follow during Victober, and she reads such a range of classic literature. So it's really cool to follow her.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so delightful. And if it's possible, I'm even more excited for Victober now and Victober with you. So thank you for being willing to take the time to do this.
Thank
and
you.
yeah, I look forward to everyone seeing it.